Hi everyone, this video is to show you how to rescore an assessment. There are a couple ways to do that. You could individually go into each student's grades and kind of change them, or you could use the auto rescore option that Schoology provides only for questions that are auto graded. And so this is the list of questions that are capable of using the auto rescore function on Schoology. And you would use this functionality if you realize that after students have taken an assessment that the answer key is wrong. You accidentally marked one of the questions with the incorrect correct answer. Funny there. And so you need to go back in and change the answer key so that students can now have the correct scores on their assessments. So to do that, you would go and find the assessment. You can probably find it easiest through your gradebook. Open it up as if you were going to edit it. Go to the Questions tab, which we're sitting on right here, and then we're going to find the question that we marked incorrectly. So it's the second question here. I have it currently marked as the good guy for the correct answer when really the main character is the correct answer, so I'm going to select that. One important note, never change the actual content of your question. That will really ruin things for the Schoology assessment, scoring, and everything. It's going to throw everything off, and so don't ever touch the actual content of the question. Just change the correct answer setup and select the correct answer. If, for whatever reason, the correct answer is not actually in one of these answers that you've provided to students, we're going to strike the question from the assessment, and I'll show you how to do that directly after this. So I'm going to change it to the main character. I'm going to click Save. And then Schoology is going to prompt me with this little window that says Rescore Existing Submissions, and so I will click Yes, Rescore Submissions. This little banner is going to come across the top that shows you that it's being rescored. One thing to keep in mind is that submissions do take a long time to be rescored. It can sometimes take hours, especially if you have multiple sections that need to be rescored, and so you may want to check back the next day. Definitely not something that's going to happen immediately. One thing to keep in mind is that when you're auto rescoring, you're going to want to only do this once students have taken the assessment. So for instance, if you teach first, second, and third, and you catch the mistake in the middle of second period as students are taking the assessment, do not make the changes as students are in the assessment. Their scores will not be auto rescored. And so you want to wait until everyone's done in second period taking the assessment, then you're going to go in, change it to the correct answer, and then everyone in first and second will have their submissions rescored. If third period takes it with the correct answers now changed, their scores will reflect the changed correct answer, and so you don't need to go back in and check. Theirs will be scored properly. Something else that Schoology does that you may find useful is its scales. And so, for instance, we mentioned that if one of my questions, I had just completely not included the correct answer at all and it was just a bad question to have, instead of deleting the question, we never recommend that you delete the question. Leave the question where it is and simply make it out of 0 points. You'll notice that that grays out the question. It is no longer being calculated, and so my total points is now out of 3. And so when we look at the grading, you'll see here that it's out of 6 points because in the gradebook I've scaled it, right? And so Schoology can scale things. And so my assessment is now out of 3 points, but if I go to the actual assessment on the materials page and I click the little edit here, you'll see that I have it out of 4. Let's make it out of 3 so that I can actually see what the Schoology assessment says it's out of. And so let's save those changes, and then let's check the gradebook. And you'll see 3 points, and now it's out of 3 points because I removed one of my questions. And so Schoology will scale that for me, right? If I decide that I actually want to see it out of a different amount, I could go back in and say, you know what, I've decided to make it out of 5 points total in the gradebook. Let's see what happens there. And then when I check, you'll see again that Schoology will auto scale. And so it takes the number of points total on the assessment, and so it scores that, right? And so if they got 1 out of 3 on the assessment, that's their general score. It takes that percentage, and then however many points you make it in the gradebook, Schoology will scale that so that the points are reflected properly. Nice feature.